Oh, hi guys. I'm so excited to chat with you.
Well, we're glad
My
you're here.
question is about, thank you. My question is about dowsing.
Mhm.
I watched, I know, Jimmy Aiken, you have two podcasts on it, and I stumbled
Mhm.
upon a gal on YouTube who does it, and she apparently is talking to like archangels, and she asks all
Mhm.
sorts of really interesting questions. Some are very odd, and some are like, should I have a ham sandwich today? And then some
Mhm.
are do all religions end up at the same God? Shockingly, the answer to that was yes. The one for the ham sandwich was no. So anyway, I just was curious what your opinion was. Your podcasts just don't dive into that part of it, I think, quite as much, where these people who are dowsing talk to spirits or
Okay.
angels. So I just was curious your opinion.
Well, she's not. If she's talking to spirits, she's not doing dowsing, not as it's classically understood. Um, she could be using a dowsing instrument to try to talk to spirits, but that's not dowsing. Dowsing, also known as radiesthesia, is a process where a person um, claims to psychically sense certain things like the location of water or the location of a missing person, and then they use a device such as a pendulum or a Y rod or an L rod to indicate where that location is. But there's no spirits involved in this. If someone is either talking to spirits or dowsing to talk to spirits, they are not doing normal dowsing. And so I would say, well, talking to spirits is really problematic. So I'd say what this person's doing is really problematic. And if she's getting answers like all religions are the same or all religions end up at God, okay, that's not true. And so that would be a false communication. And one could then try to explain that false communication. It could be because if she's using a device, that's the product of her own subconscious. That's what she wants to be true. Because the way that Dowsing implements work is based on what's known as the ideomotor effect. The ideomotor effect is tiny muscle movements that are subconsciously controlled. And so anytime you have a process that depends on the ideomotor effect, you may well be talking to you are in fact talking to your own subconscious. And that would be the understanding of how actual Taoism finds things. You become subconsciously aware of where the water is, and then you indicate that subconsciously through the ideomotor effect. So it could just be her own subconscious wish that all um, religions end in God. It also could be more sinister than that. Her subconscious might be in touch with a spirit that's telling her that. And if a spirit is telling her that, then that's a demon. And so I would say talking to spirits, whether it's using a dowsing implement or not, is really problematic. Having said that, if she were doing regular dowsing and not trying to talk to spirits, well, the situation's more interesting. And we'd have, you asked what my opinion would be. And this is something I discuss in the two episodes I did. They are episodes 246 and 247 of Jimmy Akin's Mysterious World. So you can go to mysterious.fm/246 and mysterious.fm/247 to listen to them. But basically, I would say there are two questions to be asked. One, does this work? And two, what's the church's opinion on this? In regard to question one, I would say I'm open. I want to see scientific evidence for does this work? And I know of some cases, like I cover in this episode, where a former Defense Department spy used this to find contraband on a huge container ship, and he was able to identify where the contraband was. So that would be a point of evidence in favor of this can work. But you need any experience can be a fluke, so you need more than just one test. But I would characterize myself as open when it comes to does dowsing work. That leads to our second question in terms of what's my opinion. What's the church's view? Well, there have been an astonishing number of Catholic priests and bishops who are Dowsing supporters. And there have been an astonishing number of Catholic priests and bishops who are dowsers, who actually do dowsing as part of their activities for people. This is not a new thing. This goes way back. And the Vatican has not had a problem with that. In fact, Pius XI was supportive of dowsers. He gave his apostolic blessing to a French Society of Dowsers. He was interested in reading about dowsing. He sent them a letter conveying, or had his chief librarian send him a letter conveying the apostolic blessing. And in 1942, there was a decision from the Holy Office, now known as the Dicastery for the Doctrine of the Faith, that that dealt with, can priests do dowsing? And the answer that the Holy Office came back with, and this is all pre-Vatican II, the answer that the Holy Office came back with was yes. They didn't want priests doing certain types of dowsing consultations, but they said priests can do dowsing as part of scientific experiments. And there were no regulations on what laity could do. So they wanted priests to avoid certain kinds of dowsing consultations, but they had no problem with priests doing dowsing as part of an experiment, and they didn't have any problem with laity doing either one. So I would say the church has a very open attitude here. That's not saying that that you can't do it wrong, and if you're trying to talk to spirits with it, well, that's wrong. But in principle, if you're doing dowsing the standard way, where you're not talking to spirits, the church has actually been open and supportive.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you like this Catholic Answer, be sure to like, subscribe, and check out our live streams Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific. Or find the episode after on YouTube, your favorite podcast platform, or our Catholic Answers app.